There
Now
you
we're
go.
good. Right, cool.
There we
All
are.
right. And then we got it at that time. Yeah, it's Critic here, and I'm here with the Lord of Toxicity to speak about my favourite ever movie. Not the best movie of all time, but certainly my favourite. And my experience is that most people don't know about this film. So I was really surprised to, not only do you know this film, Toxic, but you also, you hold it in a similar regard to me. You really
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, it's a great neo-noir, mid 90s kind of geez, I don't even know what I don't even know how you classify it really. I guess
It's like a murder crime thriller, I suppose. But like, there's a lot of action in it. So
yeah, it's a gritty, detective type story. A lot of great music. It's
yes, yeah, the
very
soundtrack is
urban.
awesome.
I still
So
have
I
the
mean,
soundtrack to this day. Yeah.
yeah, I've got it. And I've got it downstairs on CD. It's great. Well, what we'll do is the film we're talking about, by the way, is Strange Days from 1995, directed by
Yes.
Catherine Bigelow, written by James Cameron.
Mm.
It's as close to a New Year's Eve film as I think you can probably get, as that's
Yeah.
when it's set. We'll watch the trailer and we'll go from there. And yeah, we'll just talk about the film because this is a great film. If you've not checked it out, hopefully over the next however long it takes, we'll convince you to do so. So let's just present this up.
Lightstorm Entertainment. Yeah, you might want to
Yeah, man.
Project in. Have you ever wired tripped?
lower that or mute it or something.
Yeah.
This is not like.
And it's not the primarily like reason for watching this film, but Juliette Lewis's tits.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a bonus. It's a bonus, you know. And this isn't the first film that I actually saw her in either. I saw her in Dusk Till Dawn before I saw this film. I'm sure of it.
Oh wow. Okay. Even though
I did
Dust
not
Till
see
Dawn
this film. I did not
came
see
out.
this film on release. I saw this
Okay.
film much later. We'll discuss our first interactions with the film. I'm just going to stop and start it, try and keep the copyright devils off my back.
There you go.
Only better. This is life.
It's fucking mini disc, man. I had a mini disc player.
Yeah.
It's about the stuff that you can't.
That died real quick when MP3 came around, didn't it? Like
No, yeah,
CD.
that did not last long. If you were to go by the 90s, you would swear we were all going to be using floppy disks and mini disc things for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. It was like you had the CD, and then you had like a media CD where you could put, I don't know, like 50 songs or something on it.
Yeah.
And then you got mini disc, and you're like, oh my god, I put like 10 albums on this. And MP3 just smashed it into the dirt.
Knocked it in the dirt.
Fruit, straight from the cerebral cortex. I mean, you're there, you're doing.
So this trailer was
You're beginning to see the possibilities here.
this trailer is what enticed me. In 95, I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of my time, just senior skip days, going to the movies, going to work.
Yep.
They used to have the E Entertainment channel, and they would have coming attractions.
Okay.
And this trailer came out, and I just was like, "Well, what is this about? This looks interesting." So
yeah, it is. It's stylish. It's slick.
Very slick neo noir type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's got some great acting in it as well. I mean, this is Angela Bassett, who's obviously gone on to do a lot of things since.
Yeah,
but
and
this is probably one of the sort of breakout roles. It's certainly the thing that I've seen her in that I've been most impressed by.
Yeah, she had just come off of an Oscar win for the Tina Turner biopic, What's Love Got to Do with It? Had just come out about a year and a half before. So she had just come off of that. And then I think this was like the first thing she did subsequent to that.
And it's a great role because it's like she is typical sort of what would nowadays be strong woman.
Yeah.
And this is brilliant. She still shows vulnerability. She still relies on people, but she is a kick-ass bodyguard, basically, effectively.
Yeah, security specialist like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you've got Ralph Fiennes playing the ex-cop Lenny Nero.
Hustler.
Big time. Yeah, he's a almost a con artist, but he's a con artist with ethics, isn't he? That's the thing. The really cool thing is, even though he's gone down this road, he's an ex-cop and he doesn't do blackjack clips.
He has, Well, I think that's more like preferences, because that's interesting you say that, because I did watch this last night after our conversation, and I feel like, 20 years ago I would have said yes, he's got ethics, a code, but I think it's more to the point that he has just preferences, and I think that I think he likes the idea of the fact that he walks both sides without quite, not quite being a cop anymore, not quite being a complete degenerate.
Yes, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. I see what you mean. Like it's the moral high ground he takes to keep himself free of the filth that he's swimming in, basically. Yeah, because I mean, Macy, the Angela Bassett character, she even says that at some point, doesn't she? She's like, "You're in all this filth, but somehow you don't let it touch you," or something like that.
Yeah.
It is all black market stuff. This is ex-CI technology, if I remember correctly.
I believe they said it was ex-military. Yeah, they had used it as programming soldiers to do, like, fake, VR fights, kind of.
Yeah. So it's all set right on the dawn of the millennium, and basically what's going on is Lenny finds himself wrapped up in this murder mystery where the clues and the evidence is being delivered through these blackjack recorded clips. So you've got this kind of black market technology where you put this thing in your head, and then whatever you experience you record, and somebody else can relive those experiences.
Yeah,
that's the whole idea behind it. And like with most things, generally the technology seems to have degenerated into porn.
Yeah. As most things do.
Just like the fucking internet, they saw it coming. But basically, he because he is known for doing this these clips, they're called clips. He's a seller and buyer of clips. As you say, he's a hustler. He finds his mark, he finds out what they want, and then he gets somebody to go out and record it and sells it to them, kind of thing. And as you say, he has this this high view of himself as this seller of dreams, this dream maker, this magic man. But like Macy says, he's selling used memories.
Yeah.
There's nothing classy to what he does at all. It's very seedy. But it's all set. Yeah, you've got this great big party, and there's a lot of civil unrest and this racist motivated killing that happens, and it all boils together into this this great murder mystery where you never know quite who you can trust, and there's some really nasty stuff, really inventive stuff going on. And it's just this really stylish film that's got a banging soundtrack. I mean, what this film reminds me of, Toxic, is The Crow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Big time. It's got the same kind of bands playing and music vibe to it. It's also got that kind of noir. It's a bit more colourful than The Crow. The Crow's a very gothic film, but this is like a cyber version, a punk version almost of that kind of setup, I suppose. And that's probably one of the reasons why I like it so much, because I also hold The Crow, not the new one, the proper Crow, in very high regard. And like this, that's got a banging soundtrack and all that kind of stuff, but this just does so much. So you said that with this film, you first encountered it from the off with the trailer.
Yeah, they had a I don't know if they still have this channel. It's called the E Entertainment Channel, and they had a thing that I just worshipped, which was coming attractions, because I just love watching the trailers. I love cinema, always have. And I was, like I said, it was a senior in high school, so I was in this program where at lunchtime I got released so that I could go to work, but I didn't go to work until like 4:00 in the afternoon. So I'd have the whole afternoon to just kind of dick around, go surfing, work out, chase chicks, and do what I like to do, which is watch movies and watch the coming attractions. And they would have the coming attractions on, and I looked at this, and 95 was just a banger year for film.
Yes.
There's so many great movies that came out all in 95, starting with Outbreak in January and leading all the way up to Braveheart in December of 95. 95 was also the last year of my freedom too, because I was 18 years old, and in early '96 I got my first wife pregnant. So it wound up, that this was like my last like free year. So '95 is holds a special place in my heart. I had spent a lot of time at the theater, and it's just one of those things where I saw the preview for it, and it just was really enticing. I had not seen Schindler's List, so I didn't know who Ralph Fiennes was, but I did know Tom Sizemore, knew Angela Bassett. I sort of knew Juliette Lewis, but not. I had not seen. Obviously, it had not come out yet, so I hadn't seen From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And my roommate and I went to go see this film, and I remember just being like blown away by the kind of neo noir, and my writing is very dark, PI type seedy underground world.
Yeah.
And I'm drawn to that, and that's basically what this was. And it's supposed to be a little futuristic, type thing, and it takes place, supposed to be 4.5 years in the future from '95. So New Year's Eve 1999, and it's a little kooky because some of the stuff is like
you said mini discs, which
mini discs.
In '95, they're probably like, this is the next big thing. This is going to be future technology. And now we look at it like, it literally lasted for fucking 6 months.
Mini discs are not a thing, and obviously now, if you push it 20 years in the future, yes, LA definitely is a place of civil unrest, and a lot like what you see there. So in that way, it was a little prophetic, but at the time, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't at all. It was everything about it felt contemporary. It felt now. There was no sort of massive future thing apart from this technology. These clips, they were like virtuality, but he says it's not virtual reality, but better. It's not that. It's you're actually living these memories. You will feel everything. You will experience everything. When somebody is, feeling something or touching something, you will feel like you are touching that thing. It's not VR. So that's the aspect of it that obviously is futuristic, but as you correctly say, everything else, all the technology in it, there's no futuristic weaponry, there's no futuristic cars flying around, the music is very contemporary and of the age, and it really is a brilliant soundtrack. I think the first time that I watched this film, as I say, was certainly after Dusk Till Dawn, so I reckon it was around about sort of very late 90s, maybe very early beginning of the 2000s. And I picked it up in a second-hand DVD store. There was a shop we had where I lived in Southend-on-Sea, which is just outside of London, basically, along the estuary, the River Thames. There was this shop called Golden Discs, and they used to sell second-hand DVDs. And I literally just saw it, and I thought, oh, man, that cover looks cool. And I sort of picked it up, looked at the back of it, and went, it fucking sounds cool. And I took it home, and, man, I fell in love with this film. And we will discuss what I find so appealing about the film as obviously time goes on. But since then, I've seen it like, man, fucking 50 times. I mean, the amount of times I've been laid to this movie is ridiculous. It's just, it is my favourite film. And I will freely admit that it's not the best film in the world. It's not. I can't say that. But sometimes films just speak to you, dude. That happens. And this film does that for me with its themes. So let's go through the characters, because there's quite a few kind of interesting characters in this film at various stages of their life.
I've got some slides for you.
Oh, sweet.
Can
you present those? Can I?
Well, I'm gonna pull them up into the present area, and then you can once you
sweet. Okay.
access
Is that how
them.
it works? Yeah.
Yeah. Once you
I'll
access
call this out so I sound like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. So they're there now. So there you go.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So this is Ralph Fiennes playing Lenny Nero.
Yep.
And as we've said, he's a sleazeball with a heart of gold, I guess.
I don't know that, because he has a very sinister side to him.
I mean, he's selfish. He is selfish.
Yeah.
Because he's using Mace for her own ends. But I genuinely don't feel that Lenny is a bad person so much as that he just puts himself, he's his own worst enemy. He puts himself in bad situations.
He does.
He makes bad choices. Let's just say that he makes bad choices because he gets the shit kicked out of him
A
several
lot,
times in
a
this
lot.
film.
See, and that's something I really like, and it's in. If you ever get a chance to read my book or any of my books, I'd like to have my main character. A great detective film has your detective getting. He's a detective in a detective film that doesn't know that he's a detective at
Right.
first.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? He thinks he's a hustler. He's just kind of gliding through life. He's basically simping for this chick that he thought was the number one chick,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
and admittedly
And
a
this is the
hot.
theme. This is the theme of the film. Beyond any technology or anything like that, the theme of the film is unrequited love. The
Yes,
unrequited love that he has for Faith, who is Juliet
yes,
Lewis's character, and the
yes,
unrequited love that Angela Bassett's character, spoiler, has for him.
correct,
You
correct.
know, that's the theme of the film. So
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that I emphasize with it so much. But yeah, Ralph Fiennes is great in this. I mean, bear in mind, unless he's got to be like what, this is 30 years old now. He can't be any more than 30 himself, maybe late 20s.
I don't know how old he was in this, but he was. Let me tell. I'll give you this example. So I took my roommate.
He's 62 now. So yeah.
Yeah, so he'd have been about 30. Yeah. I took my roommate to this, and she brought her girlfriend. They're both lesbians,
Okay.
and in the scene where he's watching Juliette Lewis's character Faith, and
Oh
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's standing up there in his leather pants, and he's just kind of looking at her longingly, watching her perform. Both of the girls were like, "He's hot." I was like, "Okay, you guys
Dang,
aren't
you're lesbians.
completely
Back to the
gay."
other side.
Yeah, exactly. So there is that.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
also he has, like I alluded to earlier, he has that ability to uh, be kind of a goofball, and he gets the shit kicked out of him. And
Yes.
I think you need that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a big noir fan, especially the private detective type thing. And in that way, like you see Chinatown, Jake Gittes' character gets the shit kicked out of him. All
Mhm.
your good, Last Boy Scout, Bruce Willis's character gets the shit kicked out of him. All the good PIs always get the piss beat
Yes.
out of
Yeah, you have to
them.
go
And
through your trials, don't you, to
yeah,
go, to
so
get to the end.
and he does do that, and they don't reveal, and they do a great show don't tell by revealing later that he is kind of a badass. He just chooses to not kind of. He's
Yes.
not a kung fu expert or anything like that, but he knows little slick tricks. Like he was a cop, and
Yeah.
he was a vice detective, and
Yes.
it's very easy if you work the vice squad to kind of fall into drugs and prostitution, because you do undercover stuff, and you get kind of used to just being in that seedier side of things.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. He's fallen into that crowd, and that's allowed him to have these connections to continue to sell this contraband, this black market stuff.
good word.
And he, I feel like he's an earnest character because obviously Macy sees something in him that he doesn't see in himself.
Yes.
She sees his finer qualities, such as they are, and he's an interesting character because as much as he is flawed, obviously she, on the other hand, has that history with him through her child,
Yeah.
her boyfriend or her husband. I think it's her husband commits a murder in their house. The
Yeah.
police turn
Baby
up.
daddy. Yeah. Baby daddy.
Yeah,
Whatever. He did something. Either somebody OD'd or he killed somebody in
yeah.
the house, and instead of
Lenny was one of the police officers who
right.
attends at the time and
Yeah.
kind of bonds with her son.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um, so there's an element to her character there already where she's this single mum who goes out and does this security work,
Yeah.
but she is a bona fide badass. I mean, Angela
Yes.
Bassett absolutely fucking kicks ass in this film, and it's believable. It's not believable. Do you know what I mean? She's got that
Yeah.
fucking suit and everything, and she looks like she can throw a punch. I have no idea if she works out or whatever for it, but
Well, yeah,
she
like I
is
said, she had just
fantastic.
come off of her big Oscar win for the "What's Love Got to Do
The
with It,"
Tina Turner thing,
Tina
yeah.
Turner thing, and feel free to skip through the slides, use whatever ones you want to use, and so her arms were really good. She was known for that. 95 was a big year for her. She did Vampire in Brooklyn, and she also did
Is that Eddie Murphy film?
Yeah, she played a cop in Vampire in Brooklyn, and then she also did Waiting to Exhale. She was a divorced woman in that. So 95 was a pretty big year for Angela Bassett, and basically, you can see, she's the steadfast character in it. She's the moral boundary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
she's the thing that kind of drags. There's two characters in this, and I guess we'll get to the other one in a second. But there's two characters that are Lenny's basic, his alter egos, so to speak, or his devil and his angel.
Almost the angel and demon on his shoulder, aren't they? One's a path towards destruction, the other one's a path to redemption.
Yeah, she's the one that's trying to pull him towards the light.
Yeah.
And her business intersects with his, not in a lot of ways, not the way she wants it to, but you can see he's kind of, at the point we find them in the film, she's coming up in the world as, the security specialist, and still, kind of just feeling sorry for him, in a way. She's, he uses her for free rides, also for the fact that she's got this armored limo that not only will he be safe in, but he can be discreet and ply his trade in the back of her vehicle, because it's, you would assume it's not only physically protected, but also by law. She's probably got a thing where she can have rich customers, plus he has access to these rich customers.
So he's abusing her clientele, basically making use of her contacts and everything like that.
And you could see that that's probably something that happens. She's probably loaned him money, and he's definitely on the downslope, and she's on the upward mobility.
Yes, he's slowly sliding into this this morass of where there is going to be no escape, because he's obviously had this relationship with Faith, this whirlwind romance that he had that he can't get over. It's over now. He can't get her out of his mind. But she's gone to a place, she's gone to a circle that's below where he is.
Yeah, she's become famous. She's up and coming rocker girl. She's hot. She's young. He's over the hill.
Her boyfriend is a record producer, or
right?
Record label owner, I think it might be.
You might headcanon, and this stuff doesn't need to be said, because you can just see it in the way that he lives. He eats a popsicle for breakfast in his boxes. Yes. He spends his night getting drunk, playing back tapes of him banging Faith, and things like that. Yeah. So that's, and you can kind of see the degradation as he's going downhill, and you can see, in that way, whether it's up or down, sideways, whatever, Faith, the Juliette Lewis character, is definitely pulling away from him, but just kind of, she keeps him at arm's length and uses him for what she needs to use him for, much in the same way in which he uses Mace, Angela Bassett's character, for what he needs to use her for.
Yeah, exactly. She's a destructive influence on him, and Lenny is a destructive influence on Mace, because he puts her job into jeopardy and stuff like that with what he does with her clients, and all that kind of stuff. He's taking advantage of her, and Juliette Lewis is taking advantage of his good nature, or the fact that he's just after like a puppy dog.
Yeah, because he's a simp. He's a simp. She's banging some other dude that's richer than her. She's surpassed him, at least in her mind.
That's exactly it, isn't it? She's used him to get to the next step of her career.
Yeah. And whereas
I think Lenny says she was another $5 whore giving blowjobs for something or other.
For meth, I think it was.
Yeah, for her meth, So he lifted her out of that position, and then she surpasses him and moves on to the Michael Wincott character.
Well, you might even headcanon, and they don't explicitly say it, that at some point maybe he was trying to earn some money to give her the life that she wanted, and he wound up getting himself in trouble with the cops.
With the bias, yeah, exactly. Because we never find out why he quit. I mean, we know he's got a problem with authority.
Yeah, he did something he wasn't supposed to. It wouldn't be too far fetched to think that trying to get expensive things or do favors for Faith, he got himself into some sort of a trouble. What I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as I say, she's a destructive influence upon him, whereas Mace would be a positive influence on him, and bring him back to being, maybe getting himself sorted out and having some kind of a life, rather than dwelling in the ruins of a previous life. One is looking back, one is looking forward, but he can't see that, and he thinks of Faith as the way forward, but all she is a shattered dream that will never happen. So we've got the Tom Sizemore character.
So he's
Max.
the opposite. He's the opposite of Mace. Although he doesn't appear to be. He appears to be everything a good bro would be. He's there for Lenny when Lenny has a hard day to get a drink
He's his
with.
best. He's his bro, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to give away the spoiler of the plot of the film.
Oh, you know what? Here, listen. We're gonna here. Let me help you out here a little bit. Go ahead, pull that up. Pull that.
Okay. We're going to spoil that. Right, we're going to talk spoilers for at least a little bit here.
You see that slide I just gave you? Pull that up.
Yeah, got it.
There you go. So yeah, we're gonna spoil. We're gonna spoil everybody. Okay, so there you go. You go back to the other one if you want to. But yeah, so Max is everything seemingly that a good "I got your back, bro" type guy would be. He's there with a quick laugh, a quick drink. Yeah. He doesn't judge Lenny for what Lenny. In fact, in most of the conversation, he applauds Lenny for, he's like, "Oh, you're the magic, hey, Lenny knows everybody, he's that kind of guy." While
he's the supporting pillar in Lenny's life. Basically.
He's comfortable, but so he doesn't. He doesn't.
And he's also an ex-cop because he says that I've got a pension. I'm an ex-cop. I've got a pension I can't live on.
Yeah, he's trying to eke his living as a PI. And listen, here's the deal, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm a PI. PIs are scumbags. If they weren't scumbags, they'd be doing something else. So he's eking a living, doing sidebar security work and doing little stuff. So he's probably, you could even headcanon it. It doesn't get explicitly said, but maybe Lenny, some of these people he deals with that are having sex with other people in order to make those little movies with the squid brain thingy dingies on their heads. Maybe that's stuff that as a private investigator, his buddy Max has done, like marriage, divorce cases and things like that. Who knows? Blackmail, whatever. He's definitely the seedier side. So in the angel devil thing, he's for sure the demon or the devil that's kind of like, nah, it's cool, Lenny. You're doing great. I like everything that you're doing.
Yeah. It's like he's part of that lifestyle as well, isn't he? And we find out later that he is permanently.
Yeah, he's really part of that lifestyle. Yeah. So
he's much, much deeper than Lenny is, but we just don't realize it at the time. And I think it's a great Tom Sizemore performance. Obviously, Tom Sizemore's dead now.
Is he dead? Died?
Great performance. Yeah. Tom Sizemore died a few years ago.
Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
He had a very troubled life and later career. Shit going on and stuff. But yeah,
95 was also a good year for Tom Sizemore. He did Heat that year as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was one of those great character actors, and this is just one of my more memorable roles for him, along with what was it? Saving Private Ryan, I think he was in.
Yeah, he's the platoon sergeant in Saving Private Ryan. Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, he was good in that.
Yeah, he had to get clean for that. Like Tom Hanks wouldn't let him go to the set if he didn't take a piss test. So he got him clean.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
that may well have saved his life then, because he was fucking certainly off the rails by that stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's another, as I say, really important character. Your three main characters, even beyond Faith, because she's not actually in the film that much, is Lenny, Mace, and Max. That's your three core, sort of characters in the film. There's lots of secondary characters.
Yeah, under different circumstances, you could almost see them, like the three of them having their own detective agency or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you got Lenny's the talking man. Max is the guy who actually sort of gets things done and goes out there and does stuff, and then in a complete role reversal, Mace is the muscle. So
right. And that almost seems that you kind of get that vibe at the beginning of the film when the three of them are together. But it's just like it's like Lenny is, and it's weird too because Mace seems to have a pretty cordial relationship with Max. They seem to be friendly, if nothing else.
Yeah. You certainly, yeah. I mean, I feel like she probably knows and thinks that he encourages Lenny in the wrong way.
Yeah.
but she, at the same time, I think she is of the opinion that she'd rather have Max in his life than not, because he's more or less the only thing that he's got apart from his simping for Faith. Max comes along, gives him the drinks, and he's the shoulder to cry on kind of thing, because Lenny's not exactly always a communicative kind of guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're both very important facets, I suppose, of Lenny's character. And then you've got the main thing, the thing that he's pining for, Juliette Lewis, Faith.
Yeah.
Who we can see here.
Peak hotness of Juliette Lewis.
Oh yeah. I mean,
this is the hottest she's ever looked, and ever will look.
And she can fucking sing, man.
Yeah.
Her singing performances in this are brilliant.
If you have a mind to check out the soundtrack, do it if nothing else, look for the stuff on YouTube. And
yep. I'm sure it'll all be on YouTube. It's a fantastic soundtrack.
I believe she does at least 3 different songs.
3 songs. I think it's 3 songs she does on the soundtrack in total.
And they're all
a load of different bands. It's all quite rocky, but there's a big variety of stuff. Like, is it Deep Forest who do Blue Skies? Kind of like, I think she's a black artist, and it's kind of rocky, but there's kind of there's something else to it as well, almost like a jazzy blues type thing going on. There's quite a sonic soundscape to this film. It's not all metal or anything. It's not even as rocky as The Crow, I would say.
Yeah.
But then you've got Michael Wincott, who plays, is it his name, Gantz?
Gant. I want to say it's Gant.
Gant, yeah. Who's her new dude.
Yeah, playing the typical Michael Wincott villain.
Oh yeah, and he's got some great. What's that fucking great line? The only time a whore should open her mouth is when she's giving head.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. He's basically like he's like if Harvey Weinstein and what's his name from Rolling Stone.
Mick Jagger. Yeah,
Mick Jagger had a kid.
Yeah,
it would be him. So yeah, he's that guy, and
got that kind of gravelly voice, and yeah. I mean, I think he's one of my all-time favorite character actors. Again, The Crow was just an amazing role for him when he played.
He had just come off of The Crow with this. He had a good couple years in the mid '90s. He was in a bunch of stuff, Crow, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah. He was Guy Gideon, wasn't he, in Prince of Thieves? Yeah.
Yeah. So he did this. A couple other things, I think he's underutilized. He's still banging around. He did that.
He was in Nope. He was in that Nope film, the Jordan Peele film,
which I didn't see, but I heard he was one of the best things in it. As far as
I have thoughts about that film that are basically based around how much of a fucking racist I think Jordan Peele is, but he's just one of those identifiable actors who makes any film that he's in a bit better. I think
he elevates anything that he's in.
He elevates material.
He chews the scenery in this, and not in a bad way. Like
he's just playing that sort of megalomaniacal kind of arsehole, isn't he? He's just an arsehole in this film.
And
he is also, we find out, scrabbling, behind the scenes. He looks like he's in control, but he's not in control.
Yeah, that's like the big.
He's doing too many clips. He's doing clips all the time. He's spiraling as well.
You think it's he's simultaneously the heavy antagonist and simultaneously one of the biggest victims.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he says he used to use Lenny. That's how he knows Lenny, and that's how Faith met him.
Yeah.
Because Lenny used to sell him clips, but he doesn't need Lenny anymore. So he says that when they're in the bar together, and he's like, sort of before he gets Lenny beaten up one of the several times that Lenny gets the shit kicked out of him. It's basically the film. Is Lenny continually going after Faith while Gant doesn't want him to, and Gant gets somebody to beat him up because he won't leave her alone. He just keeps, and even she's telling him to fuck off, and he's like, "Oh, you're in danger," because he's getting these tapes that show this murder mystery being unraveled, and he thinks like he's trying to save her throughout the entire film. He's trying to be the White Knight, without realizing that she's caught up in it in a way that he just can't possibly understand.
Yeah, it's one of those things that doesn't seem like it has a real mystery to it at first, and then when you look at it at a whole, like all of this other stuff is happening in the foreground, but in the background, there's this big conspiracy happening
Yep.
that
Yep.
you don't kind of understand and that's a great trope with noir films. It's like things are happening and you're, especially if they can put you in the middle of it and make you kind of in the same shoes as the detective. So like
Yep.
if this was a novel, it would be written in the first person. It would
Yes,
be written
yeah,
from
absolutely.
Lenny's
Yeah.
perspective, and it would be like, I went to the party and I saw Faith, and Faith did this, and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So you're really, it kind of keeps you on the back foot the entire time, and
Yeah, and
that's
the
that's the
narrative
brilliance of this.
it's just brilliant. I mean, it's written by James Cameron, and the guy is fucking talented no matter what you say. Whatever you think of his new films, you know, the
Yeah,
guy can write a screenplay, no problem at all.
if James Cameron had done more down and dirty stuff as opposed to all the grandiose Avatar,
I feel like Titanic was where, like, I wish he hadn't made that film, kind of, you know.
I think he could have done very well, but I give more credit to Catherine Bigelow because she understands action. I don't think I've seen a bad Catherine Bigelow film.
No, I genuinely don't think one exists. I really don't. I think
she has directed some of my favorite films, including
now.
one of my favorite war films, which is The Hurt Locker.
Yep.
So
did she also do Zero Dark 30?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 70 now. She is retired. And it's a real shame because in this world where we have lots of, I'm going to get cancelled here, let's just say underqualified female directors that are being propped up for DEI purposes, she's one who can fucking walk the walk and talk the talk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and about that too. It's just, well, two things on that. One, good for her for quitting while she was ahead, as opposed to, like, we know Ridley Scott's just
Ridley
like
Scott, yeah,
earning his own.
Who won my Please Just Retire award in my Critic Awards in the last video I did.
So yeah, we all know from our Alien Romulus stream that we did earlier this year what both of our thoughts are with that. But I mean, yeah, Catherine Bigelow is just Point Break. This movie, like you said, Zero Dark 30 and Hurt Locker, she always brings it. She always delivers.
Solid body of work.
Yeah, Near Dark. And you can make, listen, someone could say, well, she's riding on the ex-husband's coattails, and maybe part of that's true, but you know what? Kathleen Kennedy was supposed to be riding on George Lucas's coattails, and instead of that. I bet you my car note and my rent money that there's never going to be anybody that's going to say that Catherine Bigelow destroyed James Cameron's legacy.
Nope.
So I mean, she brings it all the time. All of her stuff slaps, whether you like it or not. I've heard some people grumbling about certain stuff with the Hurt Locker not being as realistic as it could be, and yada yada yada. But you know what? When she has gunfights and the things that she does, she knows what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't need to call in a second fucking director to do the action scenes.
Right, and not only that,
Marvel's Nia DaCosta couldn't do any of the action scenes because she couldn't do any of the fucking action scenes because she had no idea how to direct action.
She's doing it at a time when women didn't do that. When women,
she was an outlier. She was a fucking she was a trailblazer. Absolutely. At that time, there was no female action directors that I can think of.
No. And as far back as like 87 when she did Near Dark, and yes, that film unfortunately got overshadowed by The Lost Boys, and that's fine. But you know what? I'll say it right now, and I don't care what hatred I get. I think Near Dark is the superior 80s vampire film to The Lost Boys.
I think I agree. It's certainly the more dark and visceral film. Lost Boys has just got that cult status. A lot of it was the soundtrack. Do you know what I mean? And the acting and the cast
and the marketing and stuff like that.
I take Near Dark as being potentially the superior movie in many ways. I mean, I do like The Lost Boys as well, but there's no denying that Lost Boys has just got that cult status that Near Dark probably didn't even strive for. I mean, like, look at this film. As I say, when I say my favourite film, Strange Days, I'm like, what's that? Like, people never fucking heard of it.
Yeah,
it's so underappreciated because it's such a great movie.
Well, it works the opposite way too, because you say something like, well, oh, you like Point Break, huh? Well, the original, obviously not that abomination that was
not the remake, no.
the remake. But you say Point Break, and you're like, yeah, it's Catherine Bigelow. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, it's Catherine Bigelow. So yeah, man, she's just she consistently brought it back in the day. And I do realize that, like you said, to kind of caveat on what you said with not only Juliette Lewis, but to a greater degree, Angela Bassett being this badass female action hero. Now, granted, obviously, Jennifer Lawrence was the first.
We have to acknowledge that.
Yeah, yes. We have to acknowledge that, even though this movie came out.
She walked so that Angela Bassett could run.
Right,
I understand
that. And now, even though this movie came out before Jennifer Lawrence was born, still, Jennifer Lawrence was the first action star. But yeah, and the funny thing is too, if and you having seen this movie even more times than me, the scenes in which Angela Bassett does stuff, she doesn't do anything that, like, the stuff she does is badass, certainly.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do anything that's like,
no, it's not over the top.
It's like she's not throwing dudes around and doing kung fu and stuff. Like,
there are no accommodating stuntmen.
She's doing tricks that a security specialist. She's hitting people in the knee, or someone pulls a knife on her, and she pulls a gun on that person, or she kicks somebody while they're already, she tasers a bigger guy.
She comes in and saves Lenny from the goons. I think she comes in with a fucking chair or something like that. She's smart enough to know that no matter what she does, she's probably not going to be as strong as a strong dude. Yeah. So she uses her environment and everything to her ability. Yeah. She's a savvy woman.
Yeah. So
streetwise, you would say, I guess.
Streetwise, yeah. And I like it. I'm there for it all day.
It's great, because the thing is, even though you've got all that, she still has the weakness. Oh, not the weak. I don't want to say weakness. She's not a weak character. She has the vulnerabilities.
Much
the
better
shock when she has her first clip and she sees the event, the murder, the police killing, that puts it all into context.
Now, I don't know why you would be watching this with us and listening to this if you have not already seen this film.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to do, Toxic, I'm actually going to do two versions. I'm going to do a spoiler version and a spoiler-free version. So I'll just clip the shit out of it and do a spoiler-free version later.
Okay.
We'll just fucking discuss it. Because the thing is, the way I see it, there's too many elements and too many points of this movie to skip around spoilers, because a lot of it is integral to what happens, especially towards the end of the movie. So spoil it away, and I'll do a clipped up version later.
So for the uninitiated, it's the eve of the millennium. It's 1999, New Year's Eve. Lenny Nero is an ex-cop. He's been disgraced. He sells blackjack clips. Think of, if you're familiar with like Brainstorm or brain scanners and stuff like that, where people can record things that they see and see and feel them as they do it. So that's your MacGuffin. That's your whatever you want to call it, the motivating technology thingamabobber that they go through. So simultaneously, a couple of hookers have gone out with a couple of rappers, and the rappers and the hookers, one of them has the thing, the squid that allows you to record things.
Yes, because Dan is paranoid. He owns the record label this rapper's attached
to. He's doing the
paranoid that the rapper's going to leave his label.
Yeah. Right. He's doing the P. Diddy thing, recording everything. Yeah, so these hookers, one of them has the device on her. She's made a recording of these two cops that go rogue and kill the two rappers, making it look like it's a rival gang thing. And this is something that's
because the rapper's been doing some politically charged raps.
Right.
He's been slagging off the police.
Anti LAPD type dealio.
Exactly. Yeah.
She tries to get the clip to Lenny because he's one of the guys that she can trust. And Lenny and his team, his two, his light and his dark side, Max and Mace, try to help him figure out what's going on. Why are these cops after him? What is on this tape? When he finally gets to discover and recover what is on the tape, which is obviously the murder, that becomes the focal point of why. And, everybody's involved in it.
Before that, the trail is being killed off by a mysterious murderer who's leaving recordings of the killings with Lenny.
Very good point. Yeah. So he's got this rogue element that's kind of sending him down this trail of, hey, I'm going to hurt the people that you love, and
and not just hurt him. He's doing really fucked up stuff with the squids.
Yes.
So he's recording him killing them while they're wearing the squid, which means they're experiencing what he's feeling while he does it to them.
Yes. And not only that, there's some serious issues of, there's one very graphic sexual assault scene.
Oh yeah, no, big time.
It's not in the film, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's pretty dark.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily graphic, but it's nasty. It's a bit of a hard watch, to be honest, especially with Iris.
It's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal, and it's all, the backdrop is, L.A. 1999. What mid 90s thought that 1999 would be, basically the end of the world, so to speak.
It doesn't mention Y2K because I don't think they really thought of it, but in 95,
they say 2K though. They
do say 2K. Yeah, they do say 2K. But there's this woman talking about that there's only supposed to be 2,000 years. It's the end of days. That discussion is had.
Yeah.
Because then the radio guy mocks her. Is like, what time zone does it matter?
Right. Yeah. That's actually pretty funny. So we have this murder mystery with this detective that doesn't know that he's a detective. He doesn't know he's a detective story. And, of course, he's a reluctant one at that. And there's kind of a love triangle thing going on. And, like I said, it's all set against this kind of neo-noir, post-apocalyptic backdrop of LA 1999.
Lots of civil tension, lots of police. Suspicions of police brutality. The police are under the spotlight. This rapper's been killed. Nobody knows who's done it. And he's running to put all the pieces together while still all the time trying to save Faith, because he assumes that Faith is in danger from these people because she's wrapped up in that circle. So
which she is,
going to save her and keeps getting shit kicked out of him doing it.
Yeah, which she is wrapped up in it, though.
Oh yeah, we find out. I mean, as soon as we're doing spoilers, she is fully part of it. She's fully aware of what's going on. Maybe doesn't expect to the extent and the seriousness of it, but she is involved.
I think she does know. I think
she knows what's going to be. Obviously, she has that change of heart with Lenny right at the end. So maybe she just has, when she actually sees that somebody about to be killed in front of her, it all gets a bit real for her. I suspect up to that stage, she's been kind of not realizing quite how fucked up it is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is the very definition of an MTV movie. This was like a big thing on MTV at the time.
Yes,
I don't know how old you were. I was 18. MTV was a big influence on my life. I saw the first trailer on E! Entertainment, but then MTV picked up.
Yeah,
the music aspect of it.
4 years younger than you, so I only just missed this film. If I'd been literally 3-4 years older, I would have caught this film. But I think it just passed me by.
Because they're real strict over there in the UK about you guys watching.
I mean, we had loads of fucking shit banned, loads of it. You can go over it.
They don't call it
Video Nasties thing with a woman called is it Mary Whitehouse, or was she the American one? No, Mary Whitehouse, I think it was. And she's got loads of shit banned. She's like, you can't watch this. It's no good for any decent people. It's like, well, who said I was a fucking decent person?
Yeah, they don't call it R-rated over there, right? What is the thing you guys call
18? We have 18. That's as far as it goes. So you've got 15, which most films are these days. 18, if it's over the top and stuff, and then there's unrated.
But man, it's one of those things that, like you said, you tell people about this movie, and they're like, I've found it to be two camps of people. It's either the people are, I don't think I know what that is. What is that about? Or it's, oh man, I freaking love that movie. That movie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Which is why I was so surprised, because I think it was fucking on Lance's show. I think it was. I just told him, I said, look, it's my favorite film. And you're like, oh man, I love that film. I was like, oh, dude, awesome. There's somebody out there who actually knows it and appreciates it. That's the thing,
Yeah, I don't even know if the people in our circle, our YouTube circle, even are really. I mean, I know Enzo is, obviously, he's a big music guy. Like if you love detective movies, this movie's for you. If you love neo-noir, futuristic 90s type, this movie's for you. If you like Ray Fiennes, if you like Juliette Lewis, if you like Michael Wincott, or if you like any of those people, they're all firing on all cylinders.
All of those
Everything is
characters
good.
are allowed to shine. All of those actors are allowed to shine in every way.
If you like that MTV '90s slick movie soundtrack type thing, this is a movie for you. Like I said, '95 was just we didn't know how good we had it.
No, we didn't. You're so right. You're so right. Those mid '90s, man. You had 18s back in those days. I mean, nowadays you hardly get any 18 films. You just don't. They don't want to take that risk,
Yeah, I personally feel this would have been better. I mean, obviously, back in the mid '90s, they didn't do this, but I like if this was a TV series, like on HBO or
like a serial, that would have worked. Yeah, that really, really worked.
Even just a mini series would have been great.
Like a 3-part mini series or something like 45 minutes per episode, just to flesh it out a little bit more.
Right, but I'm saying that to say this, which is not now though. Not now. I don't want it now.
Oh fuck no, I wouldn't.
I'm saying back then. Like
in some ways, I'm glad this is under the radar, because you can imagine if they tried to fucking remake this.
Oh, they would totally. Well, yeah, this would be. Oh God, Jesus. Even though one of the main characters is black, and two.
This is one of the strange things. I get people like turning around and because of my opinion on a certain film or something, and you're such a fucking racist misogynist. I'm like, my favorite film of all time is directed by a fucking woman and has a strong black woman in a leading fucking role. Shut up and fuck off. You know what I mean? It's the quality of the film, not who's in it. This is my favorite film of all time.
Yeah, they'd make Lenny a woman, and Mace would still be a powerful black female, but she'd be in love with the female Lenny. Lenny would still be called Lenny, but Lenny would be like
Lenora. Lenora.
Yeah. And then the person he was in love, or she was in love with, would be a trans singer.
Lenny would just be, because he's a white dude, he'd just be a complete piece of shit. He would just be the worst. He'd be stupid. He'd be fucking he'd just be the worst, I'm glad in some ways. I mean, it's like a lot of things that, especially in the geek circle, that are your little secret, and then they become widespread and everybody gets in, and then it just all turns to shit and fucking woke and stuff.
Well, this was one of those things, because I worked at a bar in '95, and this was one of those things that like somebody taped it off of HBO or Cinemax or something like that, and then passed it around to everybody else. Like they taped it, with the VCR tape back in the day, which to you kids who may or may not be watching, that was like a big boxy thing that we put into a device. And then when it was playing on TV, you could record it, and then you could just pull it out and just physically hand it around. So like a worse version of what the technology is in this, which is the little discs. As high tech as those discs seem to be past, that's just as antiquated as what the VHS tapes would be. But yeah, this is one of those movies like, you'd put it on at a party, and like people would, be getting high and drunk and like watching.
Yeah, because it's got that kind of atmosphere all the way through it. There's rarely a quiet moment in the film at all. There's either music playing, or you've got the fireworks going off at the party, or you've got shooting or action or something going on.
No, it's go 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 the whole way through it.
It does not let up. It really doesn't. I mean, there's that one bit where it lets up when they go to Macy's house, and that's probably it. And she gives him that great speech, and he has some great lines himself. I mean, one of my favorites is he says it's not what's in her head, it's in what's in mine.
Yeah.
I can't let her go.
Yeah.
And that's when she understands that, it's all about perception at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And his perception with Faith is so narrow that he can't see Macy. He can't see her in any other way. He doesn't realize until practically the end of the film. He probably realizes, like, in a subconscious kind of way, but he doesn't appreciate her. He doesn't, embrace her in that way until it's almost too late. And that's one of the things that I love about this film, is that the heart of it, underneath all this action, underneath all this flashiness, and underneath all this investigative detective stuff and these murders and everything, there is the solid core of a cool, unrequited love story, this love triangle, as you say, that's going on.
Yeah.
That digs into the emotions that are going on. That Macy sees Lenny destroying himself. What am I doing now all of a sudden? that Macy sees Lenny destroying himself. And if you love somebody and you see them destroying themselves, that's painful to you as well, you know? And then on the other hand, you know, you've got Lenny sees Faith and he sees her as doing that destroying. So the emotions that are going on in his head, but the way that he feels about Faith is the way you feel about an ex-girlfriend. You know, like you have that ex-girlfriend that you don't get over and you remember them in their best possible way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't remember the bad bits, you remember the good stuff. But it's in the past, it's gone. You have to let go. And that's what he can't do.
I think Lenny thinks I'm moving the slides, by the way. I think
Lenny, okay. I was going fucking mental. I was like, what the fuck?
No, I think
activated or something.
I think Lenny thinks that Faith, it's like he believes that saving Faith and Faith becoming a singer was this big accomplishment. When in reality, the big accomplishment that he did was save Mace and protect her son.
Yeah.
And that was his big accomplishment. And Mace's success is his big thing, but he doesn't see it that way because he sees, you know, through this lens of the past. And I'll do you one better. one of Angela Bassett, Mace's best lines in this, and it's a line I use in my regular life too, which is, you know, memories are meant to fade. They are designed that way for a reason.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to just be reliving the past. You're supposed to move on towards the future. Yeah. Whereas, you know, Lenny is stuck in this morass and he's just going over, you know, the highlight reels of the good stuff. And whereas Mace is like, her past wasn't good. You know, her deal with whatever the gangbanger guy she was with that you see get carted off earlier on in the movie, you know, that's her past. Like she doesn't need that. She likes the person that she's become. And she can see that in Lenny. She can see that he has this potential to do better. But you can't be in love with somebody for their potentials. You need to be in love with people for what it is that they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and she throws the tapes at him and says that, you know, these are the used emotions. It's time to get real, not playback. Because as you say, he's living in the past. He's reliving these happier memories.
Yeah.
But it's all fake. It's not real. It feels real because he's reliving it.
Which is really interesting in the storytelling aspect of it. That, you know, it's all juxtaposed against the end of this millennia and the moving on to the next millennia. Yes. You know, it's like, let's let go of the past. Now, obviously a great idea. Have we achieved that? We have not. You know, spoiler alert, 25 years later, 25 years from when the movie's set, but I think almost 30 years later from
30 years later from the film,
we have not achieved that. We did not. We still have race
social
riots.
Media sent us all backwards, unfortunately.
Obama and the social media thing has dialed us back. So whatever we accomplished in the first early aughts, we have kind of shit on. Now maybe there's some hope for the future moving forward as far as that goes. But you know, I think this movie's very timely. That, you know, you could definitely do worse on a New Year's Eve than rewatch this great neo noir classic, because I think it has a lot to say, and I don't think it's a message driven piece, but I think it has a lot to say from a female director.
There's a subtext to it, certainly.
Yeah, there's a female director, you know, female main character, and this great idea behind you know, redemption is like the big thing in here. You have people that deserve it, and you have people that don't deserve it, and some people get it and some people don't, and plus there's just like lots of cool fucking action in this, you know.
Loads of cool individual scenes and stuff like that, and each of the characters stays true to what you expect them to do, you know, like Lenny all the way through. He's still the same dude. He's learned, he's changed, like he's changing his perception of what's around him and stuff like that. But he's still Lenny. You know, nobody. You know, Faith is still Faith, and obviously her outcome, her fate is what, you know, she deserves and all that kind of stuff. but there's no, as you say, there's no preachy message. There's no sort of like, oh, you know, this person had to change or this person had to accept this person or anything like that. It's just a solid action, crime, mystery, murder, sci-fi, cyberpunk. I don't know, it crosses so many genres, dude. I mean, but it's the heart of the film that appeals to me, beyond anything else, and just the heartfelt moments between Lenny, you know, and Mace, and the things that she does, just like the bit where she's just massaging his neck after he's had the shit kicked out of him and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just all these little things, and their relationship is so pure. And when, you know, he finally acknowledges it and everything, it's great. So it's just got all these things running through it, along with the action and the badass stuff, and, you know, all these great performances. And yeah, I think that's why it's my favorite film. And I don't think I've ever really seen anything like it, Toxic, either. Not
No,
really.
and you know, as the farther along that we go with 30 years past, I'm glad we haven't seen anything else like it. I'm glad we don't have a bunch of knockoff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I guess you could make an argument that in some ways this movie does kind of knock off of, I think it's called Brainstorm from the early 80s with Christopher Walken. That might not be right. Don't quote me on
Right.
that might not be the right title. But, you know, there's a very similar movie with Christopher Walken in the early 80s where they have like a cerebral device that you can record your action and your feelings and things like that. But, you know,
Okay.
that aside, there's not much else like this. And I'm kind of happy for this. I like this little mid 90s neo noir gem that just
Yeah.
kind of sits there by itself. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it'll always have a place in my collection. I'm going to watch it a load more times because this is a film that I can always put on and always enjoy. I just, you know, it's just there's no sort of bit of this film where I just turn off and I'm just like, I'm not really watching this anymore. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
Every time it goes on, I want to watch it. I want to absorb it. I want to experience the brilliant soundtrack and Catherine Bigelow's awesome directing. All the, you know, the very memorable zany characters, all of them, even the little side characters. Like, what's his name? Tick, the guy with the lizard.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot about him.
Lenny's tech dude, you know. And one of the cops, I think, is played by Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep.
Pretty damn early role for him. So yeah, there's just this film just has so much to give. And these days, there's so many films out there where you just watch it and it's empty. You know, there's nothing to it. It's got pacing problems. It's got script problems. And this has just got none of that. It's so great. And, you know, if I was to really think about it, yeah, I could probably think of a few plot holes and a few things like that. But when you're thinking the film, you don't think any of that. Nothing stands out. Nothing hits you in the face and goes, this just doesn't fucking make sense. This character isn't acting the way they would act. You know, it's all set up that you know what Lenny's going to do, and you know he's going to keep going after Faith, and you know he's going to keep getting the shit kicked out of him because, you know, that's just who he is.
You know, there's a scene in this that I just thought of where there's like 2 or 3 scenes that really show you Lenny's character. You know, when you're like wondering, like, why do these people like Lenny?
Yeah, is one
like
of them the legs?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I say I think he's a good dude. Do you know what I mean?
He does stuff just to do stuff. Just to do nice things. And then not only that, like when he's talking with people, he doesn't talk to people as if he's superior to them. Like when he's coaching people, he's like, "Hey, honey, when you're doing this, do it like you're making love with your eyes." And, you know, and the other guy who's like, you know, "Oh, I'm gonna," and they're really seedy type, like crappy. You know, he's like, you know, "Hey, I'm gonna have you dress up and go bang these 2 chicks." But then he's like. But then he ends up being like, the guy's like, "Well, how do I look?" He's like, "You look beautiful." You know,
well, it's like another perception of reality, isn't it? It's like he's got this perception of reality that he's living in the past with Faith, and that's his reality. But at the same time, he's selling cheap versions of reality to other people.
Yeah.
So you've got that dichotomy there as well. But yeah, like you say, he's an easy talking. He's a very likable character, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like he's talking to that Japanese dude for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And he's his best fucking mate.
Yeah. Well, I also like that he's oddly sincere. So like they have the scene where Jennifer Lewis is like, she's like, well, what are you gonna do? You a tough guy? You gonna protect me? You don't even have a gun. He's like, I have a gun. It's under my bed. And it seems like just something that it was like a throwaway line. But then later, when he thinks that, or when he knows that the killer has been in his house because of the guy leaves a clip for him showing that he's in his house,
and he's cut his throat. Well,
and
scratched his throat with a knife.
The first thing he does is go under his bed and grab his gun because it really literally is under his bed.
Yeah, she's not loaded.
Yeah, right. And that's an even better part is that he gets halfway down the hall and then he realizes he doesn't have a mag and he doesn't have a mag in his Glock and he has to go back and put the mag in the Glock. And that's so realistic. That's so like something somebody would do. Somebody
is that like is that an ex-cop thing as well? Like where he's just sort of like lost his edge?
I think it speaks to, well, there's that, but I think it speaks to the fact that like one, he has a cop's gun. He doesn't have like a Desert Eagle or a revolver. He has what a cop would carry, which is a Glock.
Right, okay.
And then on top of that, he's got a Glock that he doesn't keep loaded because just in case he's drunk or just in case somebody breaks in, he keeps the mag separate.
And he doesn't carry it with him when he goes out.
Right.
How dangerous it is or anything like that.
Yeah, he feels no need. Whereas Mace and Max, they both carry weapons with them wherever they go.
Yeah.
So, and that's an interesting juxtaposition as well. But yeah, I mean, it's those little things. And again, it's like what I always say when we do these things. My biggest thing is show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Like there's not a scene where he goes, there's a scene where he says the gun's under my bed, but you take it as a throwaway joke. And then later, like you see, he really does have a Glock under his bed. But it's not like a thing where he like has a conversation with, and Max is like, you need to be more careful. Keep your pistol with you, bro. And then he's just like, I do keep my pistol. It's underneath my bed, but I also keep it not loaded just in case. Like he doesn't do all that bullshit.
These little throwaway lines are used to compel and reinforce the narrative. It makes sense that that Faith would say, you don't even have a gun, you can't protect me, because that's what he's saying he's going to do.
Right.
It makes sense that he would say, I do, it's under my bed, because
he doesn't all of a sudden know kung fu near the end of the movie. It's like he does it dirty. Yeah, he does it dirty when he goes up against the guy from The Shield. That's one of the when he goes up against him, he just does a slick move and hits him when he's not ready, and then cuffs him to the door. So it's just like one of those things where it never defies realism. And like I said earlier in the stream, Mace, Angela Bassett's character, she doesn't do crazy, she's not doing crazy spin kicks and shit like that. She's hitting somebody with an elbow, or she's pulling a gun when someone pulls a knife. She has a shotgun, in the trunk of the car so she can blow the window out so they can get out of the sinking car, and shit like that. Like it's all believable stuff that she could.
Yeah, she's competent. Like she's obviously trained to become who she is.
Yeah,
because she's obviously not that at the start of the narrative when she's with her son and Dwayne, I think his name is, and her gangbang boyfriend or whatever.
Right.
But she's she works hard to learn her trade, and that's where she is. And she, as you say, she comes across as competent and strong, but she never comes across as over the top kick-ass girl boss ever.
Yeah.
She never even really fucking bosses Lenny around or anything. She's
if I have any complaint, and I can still remember this to this day, is my roommate saying, in the scene where she's chastising Lenny, she kind of says, I'm just trying to hang on here. It's kind of like her Oscar speech after she.
Oh yeah. But she gets really emotional and vulnerable.
Yeah, but I mean,
I got a husband who don't pay damn dime in child support. And
yeah. But I mean, to be fair, a year later, I married a strong, powerful Black woman, and she did talk like that. So I mean, for whatever that's worth. So.
Yeah, I think it's got great characters. It's got great action, great directing. The film looks awesome. Cinematography, it's a fucking brilliant film.
Soundtrack, everything is
banger, absolute
banger, top tier. Everything's firing all cylinders, man. I cannot recommend this enough. Is this my favorite film? It is not. It's not even in my top 10. It may not even be in my top 20, but it's high up there. And this is the kind of movie that, if we didn't have streaming service and this came on cable, and I got out of the shower, I would sit in a wet towel and watch this movie. So for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, now I've got it on DVD upstairs, and I've fucking spun that disc so many times. I've seen this at least 50 times. At least. It might be more. I don't know.
Nice.
But yeah, everybody should check this film out. You will not regret. I can't see anybody not liking this film unless maybe you're like a super young millennial and you've just got no patience. That's the only way I could think of somebody who would just think like,
well, I think it's pretty tight, isn't it? Isn't it like a tight hour and a half, hour and...
Yeah, no, it's not a long film. I was just say probably an hour and a half in and out, maybe slightly more. So what Google says has got a one time on it.
I mean, it's not time. Like I think you said, there's only like one.
No,
a little bit of a small.
2 hours and 19 minutes.
Is it really that long? Is it that long?
Fuck me.
Wow.
It does
not feel it doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
No. No, because it's constantly moving, man. There's no pacing problems or anything. I would not have said it was that long in a million years.
Yeah, no, I would have never guessed that. Is that like a director's cut version?
If it is, I'm fucking buying it.
Well, what is your keep?
Yeah, no, 2 hours 20. Google says 2 hours 25 minutes. Jesus Christ. 1995, that is insane. But it does not feel that long.
No, not at all.
But it's got a good rating on IMDb, 7.2, which I'd say I'm biased. I'd give it more than that, but I'd say that's about right.
I would too. It's a solid 8.5 at least.
Oh yeah, no, this is yeah. I would probably give this a 9. I really do. It speaks to me. There's certain films. What can I say? They just fucking speak to me. This film, things like Dark City, The Crow. I fucking love them. They're so beyond your standard Hollywood flat film that's just action all the time. It's got something else under it. It's got some heart. I could certainly see some people saying it's a bit long though. That length. And even though it's not high on visual effects or anything like that, it might look a bit dated now. I think the film, unless they did like a HD restoration or something, it might look a little bit lo-fi, mid 90s, because that's when it was filmed. It wasn't filmed in digital or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's a great time capsule of that time. It really is.
Yeah. If it means anything to anyone, the gun porn in it is on point. Nobody's using a gun in a way that it's not meant to be used for, and all of the stuff is pretty accurate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, the guns are used when they need to be. It's not gratuitous in any way, I don't think. It's got all these things. It's got all this darkness, and it's got these horrible murders, and, as you say, even sexual assaults and stuff like that. But it's all to propel the narrative. It's all in service of the film. There's no over the top or gratuitous moments that I can think of at all. There's no extra there's no sort of extra dialogue that's not needed or anything like that. It all works towards the whole.
It's very strict. Yeah, it's very strict. Now, I guess maybe you might, if you're younger, you might see some of the musical scenes. Like there's a couple scenes in the movie, it's got the Michael Wincott playing the guitar while he's recording himself, and there's
doing the slide guitar and stuff.
Yeah, there's a flashback scene, and then there's the scene at the concert. There's a scene at the New Year's Eve bash that are all very. If you're younger, you would not recognize the MTV influence, but at the time,
you wouldn't. This is also before social media. Nobody is on their fucking phone. Social media.
You had to have that back then. You had to have people. Having these musical vignettes that would pop in. So if that rubs you the wrong way, maybe that would be a thing that you might find as a deterrent. I personally don't.
No, as I say, that's the kind of thing that makes me think of films like The Crow. It's very similar to that kind of thing, but they're a good backdrop, and they fit in well because obviously Juliette Lewis's character Faith is a singer, so she's got her own band. I don't know if it's her own band necessarily, but she's singing these songs. She's actually singing them. I know she has got a band.
Yeah, that would be a question for somebody a little smarter than me. I don't know. I do know she sang the songs in which
Yeah, yeah. No, she could definitely. She has a band. I just don't know if it's them in this
yeah.
in this thing. It might be on the soundtrack. I'll have to dig it up and look at have a look at it. But it's it's just hitting 2:30 in the morning here in the UK, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing Nosferatu in the morning.
Oh, cheers. Oh, I think you'll like that quite I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about it, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be my first review of the year. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, man, I mean, thanks so much for joining me. Is there anything you want to say in closing on Stranger
No, I
Days?
just I encourage anybody who hasn't seen this to see it. It's definitely worth your time. If
Mhm.
you've seen it but not seen it for a while, it's definitely worth a revisit. I enjoyed it. It's definitely a nice slice of mid 90s, but you know what? As opposed to some of the stuff like Hackers that you might see from 95, which is extremely dated, this
Yes,
does
yeah,
not come off this doesn't come off that way. This is
no,
a little closer to how you would revisit and watch Heat. Like Heat
hmm
still slaps today, and it still feels, like it feels good watching it. So
yeah,
this is one of those.
yeah.
It's not quite virtuosity, but it's not either, it's not quite Heat, but it's not virtuosity. And
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
so it's
You don't watch this and cringe, do you? It's sort of like,
yeah, it's there's no cringy 90s shit in here. Even the outdated cell phones and the outdated technology that you see, it doesn't hurt anything. It's
no,
it's not that bad.
no. It's a great film. The class shines through. I mean, Catherine Bigelow, maybe she should have made more films, but what she made was fucking awesome, as you say. We just
I'm
shouldn't make
okay.
one,
Yeah, I'm
so
okay with what
all
she
of it.
did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm okay that she didn't shit the bed like a Ridley Scott and screw her own dynasty over. And I'm
yeah.
definitely
Totally.
happy she didn't pull a Kathleen Kennedy
Oh
and
fuck yeah!
ruin her
Ruin,
ex
go and
husband.
ruin a franchise or something. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
she got out a while ago and was good and knew what she was doing. Yeah, it's a
facts.
quality film. Check it out. As I say, it is my favourite film of all time. Even though I will freely admit it is not the best film of all time.
Yeah,
Was it maybe the best film? Of its genre, it's hard to say because its genre is so mixed. There's so much thrown into it. But it's certainly a very unique film with a really good identity, a good heart, and loads of action scenes and great characters. And yeah, absolutely fucking check it out.
hell
And
yeah.
I'll see if I can do a spoiler-free version as well, where we just generally about the film, just for anybody who's not seen it. But obviously, I think there's a couple of spoilers we've not discussed. We've actually managed to
But you
leave
know
them out.
what?
So
You know what? It's been 30 fucking years. You know what?
yeah, but it's 30 years for a film that
I
the
feel
people don't
like,
even know
yeah,
exists. So
yeah,
there's no way that it's not like we're talking about Jurassic Park where everybody's fucking seen it.
yeah. I mean, I do feel like we've gone past the point of
The spoiler window
reasonable
has
spoiler
expired.
alerts, but whatever, dude.
Yeah,
It's
no,
fine.
it's an awesome film. Thanks for chatting about it with me, dude. It's been
Hell
really
yeah,
a lot
anytime,
of fun.
anytime.
Cool. Right, well, I'll let you go. I know, dude, before you go,
Yes.
why don't we just plug another murder mystery thriller, but this time in written form? Your book, dude. Let's talk about it.
What? Oh
It's
my God,
a
that's so
book, man. That's not
crazy.
a small thing.
It's so crazy that you say that because I happen to have a slide right there that you can pull up.
Look at that.
Slapdash, yeah. So if you do like noir thrillers with a private detective flair and a lot of sex and violence and maybe a little bit of sexual assault slashed in there as well, you might like Slapdash. And yes, I've doxed myself. That's my real name right there. And it's set in Kansas City, a little bit in Lawrence, and a little bit in Leavenworth, where I'm at right now. And shows James McCauley is a former military guy that is a now private detective working at a bar and trying to irk out a meager living doing PI work. And he gets kind of caught up between a war that's happening between the Kansas City Mafia and the biker gang that runs the drug trade in the Midwest called the Dirty White Boys.
Awesome.
And with
So
the
it's basically
Fed,
an autobiography then, yeah?
a bit. So yeah, it is available on hard paperback, which is the in between paperback and in between hardcover
Yeah.
format.
Yeah, I think we call it a mass market paperback here. I can't remember.
Mass market is a better word, yes,
Yeah.
and that's $15. Or if you have Amazon Kindle, it is $3. If you have Amazon Kindle Unlimited, it is free. So if you are in the States and you would like a signed copy, you can hit me up on any of my socials, and I will shoot a copy out to you, and I will put your name in the next novel, which will be coming out in about a month or two. So if that
Machine.
yeah.
Sadly, Catherine Bigelow adaptation is not coming soon.
No, but this is the first in a trilogy.
Oh, cool. Okay, awesome.
And I will be wrapping it up with the third book. Both the second book's almost done, and the third book already has a outline for it. So,
man's a machine. Make sure you check some links over, dude, and I will put some links in the description of the video when I upload it.
I will do that. So, thanks for the plug, brother, and thanks for having me on the stream. Yeah, I love talking about stuff like this. So,
sweet, anytime. Yeah, absolute pleasure, man. Well, I will. Guess I'll catch you on a stream soon, but for now, I'm just going to end this recording, and I'm going to go to bed. So, cheers for that, dude.
You got to have Enzo do some outro music for you.
Yeah, well, that's what I obviously need to do that kind of stuff. Give that little classy edge that I'm lacking at the moment. But I'll make do for now. It's the British way. Cheers, man. I'll catch you later.
Take it easy.
See ya.